Alright, so we start things off with admittedly a pretty cool looking title scene. Beyond that, the game is relatively the same. The two main talking points are the performance and the controls. These are the two things that set it apart from the PC version. And I guess we'll go with the performance first. It's not good. It's really not good. Like, no matter if you're in the campaign or sandbox, the amount of units you can use is capped at 30, unless you go in the settings and start turning off things like eyes and clothes. And at that point, you just have things with weapons beating each other up, like different coloured blobs on your screen, and it's so far removed from what you were trying to play originally that, you know, you might as well just stick to the 30 unit cap. And in sandbox, having a cap of 30 units, it's not fun. You can't. I'm not saying that, you know, big battles are the be all and end all, but like the sandbox, you know, you want to go in there for some fun, right? You want to mess around with units, and a lot of people like to do is throw massive hordes of units against each other. You can't do that here. And if you do go to the cap or anywhere near the cap, you get like 10 frames a second and it's unplayable. So yeah, the performance isn't great. So yeah, overall, I would say that the unit cap in campaign does make some of the levels a lot more challenging, because you can't just cheese it with a massive horde of units. Like, you know, a massive horde of berserkers, for example, that's no longer viable here. As sad as that is. So I guess it does add a little bit to the challenge of the campaign, but in Sandbox it's just a completely huge detriment, and I feel like it sort of ruins Sandbox a bit. Now, I don't know if that's the problem with the Xbox or the way Landful have optimized the game. Tabs can run pretty well on my computer, but I do have the graphic settings very low, which is why I wish they could let us alter the graphic settings in the Xbox port. I mean, the first thing I noticed was the main menus and things. They look super smooth, and the graphics do look really nice. I would much rather have a stable frame rate and actually enjoyable battles than a half-decent looking game, so. Alright, and the controls. I'm surprised to say that I don't mind the controls. I mean, I've been using the Xbox One pretty much since it came out, and, you know, so I've really grown to embrace the controller, should we say. Is it ideal for tabs? No, but they have changed the menu system. You hold the trigger and you get a wheel up, and then you can then navigate to different factions. And with factions like the Legacy faction that has a lot of units in it, you can infinitely swirl it around, which I was very hypnotized by a couple of times. So, you know, the menus, they work with the limitations of the controller. They're a pretty good fit for this port. They do make it very intuitive to go around the menus with the controller. Now, is it superior to the PC? No, it's not. The PC menu system using a keyboard and mouse will always be better than the controller. I will say moving around using the joysticks, like looking around, it's quite clunky. That's no fault of Landfall's. That's just because you have to use 2 analog sticks as opposed to a mouse. But aside from those, it's pretty much the same game. All of the factions there, all of the secret units are there, all of the maps are there, all the campaigns are there. Oh, it's also missing, can't believe I haven't brought this up by now, but it's missing workshop support. So you can't go online and grab other people's stuff. So, you know, the campaigns you've got in the game, that's your lot. So is it any good? I guess it's fine if it's the only thing you have to play. The PC version is miles better, I'll put it that way. Like, performance-wise, it's so much better. Even if you have like a relatively cheap computer, you know, turning the resolution down a bit and things like that, it won't hurt the game that much, and it'll still look pretty decent, and you can still run it miles better than you can the Xbox. So overall, it's not a great port. If you can help it, play it on PC. If you can't, my deepest condolences. So I've written, recorded, and I've almost got all of the gameplay I need for the video I wanted to upload this week, only for the most like minute of spanners to be thrown into the works. You see, I want to record this one PS1 game for the video, Medieval. It's a great game, you should definitely play it. But the dilemma is, I wanted to record gameplay for it, so I thought, okay, fine, I'll just put it in my PS3. PS3's got a handy dandy HDMI on the back. Be fine. But the Elgato capture card I've got can't record PS3 gameplay. For whatever reason, something to do with the HDMI being encrypted or something, I can't remember what it said online, but I can't use the PS3 to record the gameplay with my Elgato. That's the rundown. So the solution was to emulate the game. My computer, being sack of potatoes it is, could not run the emulation. This thing is so sad. Look how sad it is, look. Oh, I want to cry just looking at it. So my final plan, I've ordered an AV to HDMI adapter so I can play the game off an original PS1 to capture the gameplay that way. This thing is so tiny, look. What? However, That's not going to be here until the end of the week, and I really don't feel comfortable sitting idly for a week not working on the video. So I'm all for taking extended breaks between schedules, but like, I'm not waiting a week doing nothing. So instead, I've put together a video looking at the Xbox port of tabs, and I'm just going to give my thoughts, my opinions on it, and whether it's actually